Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Hope everyone has been enjoying their weekend and enjoyed their Sunday. It seems I pretty much found the Sunday's time slot to do podcast, which is kind of, for my schedule right now, is kind of where it seems to be working out the best, since considering I'm 4 days a week, 10-hour days with a 2-hour commute. Come Friday, I pretty much will sleep most of my Friday into early Saturday morning away. At least that's been the trend for the last couple of weeks, although I'm still battling the respiratory infection. I feel a lot better, but the chaos of moving, as you can see, I'm starting to get furniture. So things are going good on the move side. Slowly getting the place furnished. I still got to put together the bed and get a few dressers, and other than that, I'm fully moved in. Washer and dryer got in Friday. Thursday and Friday were a nightmare. All this came Thursday. And the dryer and washer and dryer came Friday. So, it's like very little sleep last week. Which is why I didn't even attempt to do a driving podcast, which I am going to, because there's something I want to talk about, but I want you to see. I was been catching these signs that have been posted. And, I remember the first time I came back, because I grew up in that area. Anywhere Northwest Ohio, I've been all over the place. Truthfully, I've been all over the place from the East Coast, all the East Coast, up and down. So, the only real spot I've never been is Maine. But this one spot in particular, used to be all farmlands and woods, and that's all gone. But we'll save that for the road podcast, because I want to be able to show you the visual of what it looks like. I wish I had pictures of what it used to look like, but I'm sure if I dig around, I could find them. But, that's would be considered part of what we're going to be talking about tonight. The Great Divide, the ultimate deception. Because there's so much stuff that's happened throughout the last 10, 15 years that's reached to this point. The division is actually a deception. They've created it. They've created it through fear, through propaganda. It's like psychological warfare. Because they know the more we're divided, the less we're going to stand up when they do illegal stuff, corrupt stuff, when they're not doing what we want them to do. And that's what it boils down to. You hear people throw the term around tyrannical government. Well, that's what we have. When the government no longer fears the people, the government becomes tyrannical. They do as they please, not as what the people want. The reason the people elect them in the office is based on the promises, which is another deception, full of lies. They spew all these lies. We're going to do this. They get in office, they do completely the opposite. We're going to support the Constitution if they try to rape it. I think right now, in this time of age, it's so much easier to point this stuff out. Yes, guys, I'm going to work on the non-swearing. No promises. I'll try to keep it Sunday politically correct. Out of respect. Just don't hold me to it. The things that I've seen, and it's so easy to point out. We've had these movements of defund the police. But we don't look at the sometimes it's a long game they play. So we're going to attack the police. We're going to keep attacking. We're going to use our controlled media to paint such an evil picture of every police officer out there. And you guys know my stance on this. There's bad apples in every group. It does not reflect the whole. Yes, there's that issue that it's up to each group to remove the bad apples before they spoil or rot the rest. And, that's guilt by association, too. A few bad people give the rest of everybody else the bad name, especially when you have a controlled media that's playing politics and uses those bad apples to make it look like the rest are corrupt. There's been countless stories of these good cops doing great jobs, doing their job, doing the oaths that they've taken to protect and serve. And I commend them. Well, right now, our first responders are the ones being attacked. We've discussed this here and there throughout the last few podcasts, why this is happening. But let's look at the breadcrumb trails that they left to us. It starts with the movement of defund the police. It starts by dividing people, pitting people against each other. Thus far, every example of the police brutality that's been shown and publicized, well, that person's had a very sketchy record. It makes it hard to defend somebody with that sketchy record. Then when you see some of the videos, it's like, does it go too far? Yes, some instances it does. But that does not reflect the whole of the police department. The one case, in my eyes, that should have been the best poster child for this happened in Ohio. I believe the kid's name was Tamir. It's been a while ago, guys. But that cop in particular, I watched the video. Anybody that watched the video should be mad. The car wasn't even stopped when the cop got out. And come to find out, this cop has had a history of this. In fact, this wasn't his first precinct. But yet, and we're talking about a child with a BB gun. And if you listen to the 911 calls and the response, it was a BB gun. But nobody, very few people, jumped on this perfect case. How messed up is that? But they'll jump on some case where dude's record is so sketchy that it's not even funny. Well, I think sometimes divine justice intervened, and well, we see what happened to that so-called person's, the media's ideology of police brutality happened when lightning struck it and destroyed the mural. Have we gotten so far away it takes an act of God to show us? Not saying it was an act of God, it was a random lightning strike, right? But hey, looked like some divine intervention to me, telling people to wake up. I believe in signs, symbols, and omens, especially when they're right there in front of your face. And we are in those signs of times, as some people like to call, but it's been throughout history. And it's always when the powerful become so corrupt, so egotistical, that they quit caring about humanity, that these signs start popping up. We can go out throughout each rise and fall of each empire, each great nation. And you'll see these things. You'll see these little breadcrumbs. So, they paint the picture of the police, all the police department being bad. Now, let's institute the mandatory vaccine mandate. Which, by the way, I still stand by what I said until Dementia Patient 101 puts pen to paper, there is no mandate. There is no executive order. There is no law. But through fear, we control. Through fear and controlled propaganda from controlled media, this is a mandate. It is law. No, it is not. Because the dementia patient 101 isn't that dementiated or stupid. He knows it's unconstitutional, so therefore he can't technically, legally, put pen to paper without some major repercussions, that of being impeachment. Smoking Joe isn't so dumb after all. But the people's voices are getting louder. Look at all of our great coliseums. Listen to the chants. It's not Hail Caesar. It's F Caesar. It's F Biden. So what did they do this week? They find somebody that's actually named Brandon that has some kind of medical disease, I believe. So let's turn the tide, and now everybody's chanting for this person to get well, to get a miracle to happen. See how psychological warfare works? You see how playing on something, okay, we can twist this and turn it around. They do it every time, but it's so blatant, so in front of our faces now. And some of you go, why am I picking? Because it's the easiest one to see. They fought tooth and nail to defund the police. Well, that kind of backfired because some of the states that actually tried to do it or tried to get rid of the police department in general, seeing their crime skyrocketed. And, when people start marching on the mayor's lawn or the governor's lawn, Houston, we have a problem. Let's get the funding back. Let's get the police back on the streets. Let's put an end to this. Crime skyrocket, okay, and blow it off like it never happened. But it's that deception and division that they caused, pitting people against, taking, all cops are bad. No, all cops are not bad. That's the deception. That's the lie. There's more good cops than there are bad, by far. That's the mentality. That's the statistics we should be hearing. The videos we should be seeing is a state highway troop, Ohio highway trooper, refusing to pull his gun and shoot this person that wanted to go out suicide by cop, talking him down. There's so many cases out there of good cops doing great things. Because what we fail to realize, many of those cops believe in the Constitution, believe in the oaths they've taken to protect and serve. What happens when you get rid of them? Who takes their places? I've discussed this before. Well, we have the private sector, i.e. contractors, will come in. Or the National Guard, they're pushing these vaccines on mandates on every group, weeding out those that they know will oppose it, those that will take a stand and not follow orders because they know it's unconstitutional, it's unright, it's causing harm. So they got to get rid of these people. They got to have people in place that will follow their orders without question, without morality. That's what we're facing right now. That's what is going on. And they use our divisions and their lies that created those divisions to spearhead these things through. They're using our fear. To push this through. Why? Because they know they're losing a grasp on things. They've lost control. They know it. So now they're going to try to take it back by the most forcible aspects possible. Because us Americans, we're not stupid. Yes, sometimes we fall for the deceptions, the tricks, but always we see through it and find a way to unite. And that's what they hate the most. They know they got away with something. And they know a bunch of people seen it, pointed it out, haven't dropped the subject yet. But a lot of people are also ignorant to how mail-in ballots work. Most people didn't realize how, in their states, how the big cities actually control the vote over the rural area. When three cities can turn the whole state red or blue by their vote, when every county around it was the opposite color than the three cities. But those three cities gave the win to that state. And I've talked about this before. Who lives out in the rural area? The working class, the general laborers, the constructioners, the farmers. I mean, arguments can be made that we don't number as many people in the city. I don't believe that statistic because we're talking big major cities. We're not talking small. We're not talking about your villages, your towns, your small city. We're talking major metropolis cities where the high and mighty live and the suits work. We're also talking about corporations who can play any type of political ball game they want and dump as necessary. Why am I hearing voices? I'm not sure where that noise came from. Considering my headphones aren't attached to my phone, they're attached to a mic. But we've gotten to this point because of the divisions. We got cops out there standing up. How many of you people out there are actually sitting there backing your local police department that are taking a stand? Or are you saying no because of what you've been told, programmed to believe by, and controlled media outlet? We go through this problem with whatever label of groups of people we want to call them. Because essentially, we create labels. We create a caste system every time. We have our police, we have our churches, our priests, our congregations, we have our politicians that get ranked, we have military rankings, we have a social class system. Poor, middle, upper middle, rich, elite. We create these subcategories and place people in these subcategories. How many people were where was, to me, the biggest slap in the face of last year's lockdowns and everything? And I pointed this out all last year. Church and state are separate. How dare any entity or body tell you can't go congregate in your churches? But you rolled over. You Judases. You denied the one thing that should have more power over you than any sovereign governing entity body in this world and universe. And you allowed it to happen. Through fear. Tell you what, if you fear your government more than you fear your God, please go back to church. Not now, but right now. Beg for forgiveness. Because you should be. You placed man above God. They couldn't win that case in a court of law if they tried. Why? Because it's a constitutional matter. Church and state are separate. Church don't pay taxes. Federal government can't even tell a church what to do, but you let it. Maybe you need to reflect on some of your pastors you got in those pulpits. That still has my blood boiling to this day. I'm a preacher's son. Yeah, I grew up in a Southern Baptist church, listening to all the fire and brimstone being preached from those pulpits. But then I had questions. Then I started seeing things that didn't fit right. So I moved on to a different one. And I've been to every denomination that's out there, and I've heard the same speech over and over. The division. Nothing wrong with being spiritual. I'm a very spiritual individual. But that's where it stays, private. I don't need a congregation. In fact, truthfully, if you want to be downright truthful, this great scripture says, right now, if there's 2 or 3 people listening to my podcast, we are in church. We're having church. Where 2 or 3 gather in his name and worship. Nothing ever said we had to have a church. It's where just we come and gather. Yes, we're talking about other issues. But in the end, how many people spoke out? Or how many people just laid over and said, we can't go. We're told we can't. There's a pandemic. We'll get sick. Where's your faith in God? Where's your faith in miracles? Now, I have a few choice words that I'm going to refrain from saying. Because I get it. Fear is a very powerful tool. I know it better than most. We'll get fined. We'll get arrested. Yeah, go ahead. Please do. Should have been your mentality. But no, you're too fearful. Oh, and wait, I get it. And we're off work. We can't go to work. We don't have an essential job. We can't afford the court case. We can't afford the law fines. What about your faith in God? Can you afford to lose that? But yeah, that's how they create division. But, some are going to say, well, you're being a little bit hypocritical there because you just said by doing your podcast, 2 or 3 of us gather here, we're technically having church. We're having worship. Yes, you're right. And yes, many of these churches, I do realize, created YouTube channels. In a sense, one could say it was kind of a great revival. But that's not the point, now is it? Because that's not, you should have been doing that a long time ago. Not because you were told you can't congregate in your churches. So, we won't go there. Or I would suggest you don't go there. Because that's the problem. We do go there. You know, some people say, oh, you're just bashing Christians. I'm not bashing. I'm bashing everybody. It wasn't just Christians that were affected by that. Every religious denomination was affected by that. You know what the worst part of it is? It's unconstitutional here in the United States. Our rights of freedom of religion is protected. Nobody can tell us where we cannot worship, when we can and cannot worship. And I've jumped on everybody on that one. Just not the Christians, the Catholics, the Mormons, and all the other ones. I'm talking about including in the pagan communities. Even though they were more still just doing as they were pleased, because that's the pagan community. We're a bunch of heathens. We do what we want and as we please, right? That's the way you guys view us, huh? Yeah, well, not entirely true, but most of them are more awake than most. But then again, they live in fear every day too. Religious persecutions. The great division of religion. It divides us all. You're wrong, I'm right. It's always been that way. Holy wars have been fought over this, instead of leaving each other to be. Letting people worship as they please. Because in the end, none of us know who's right or wrong. It's only that faith we put into that and our beliefs and that spiritual connection that we go by. Most people won't step outside that box to experience other beliefs, other faiths, listen, observe. They'll just say, no, they're wrong. I can't sit here and be open-minded to what they're saying, because that's wrong, that's evil, that's the devil. Nope. Right now, what's evil and the devil is our corrupt government dividing each of you and playing you like puppets. Telling you can't worship in your churches like they did last year. Telling you can't have faith that your God's going to see you through this. Same people are telling you that these cops are bad. So how many of you are going to actually come to their defense? How many people are going to start realizing what happened in Florida this week, where the school thought it was okay to tie a mask to this girl's face that had Down syndrome? Let me tell you, if we did something like that to our child, we'd be in jail. School does it to your children. It's okay. They have to wear a mask. Our education systems haven't been an education system in decades. They're indoctrination centers, period. In fact, you take out that period and put an exclamation mark, because that's what they are. Our children have been being taught things that should be part of the curriculum of education. And it just doesn't start in the middle school, preschools, junior high, and high schools. It extends clear to the college level. Here, you can take this degree, get this degree, that has nothing to do with anything you're ever going to deal with in the workforce or in a particular field, other than how to not be judgmental to transgenders. others. That their decisions and choices are moral, are ethical, are natural. Okay. Which is completely asinine. Yep, because I believe this. I'll catch flack for this. I always do. No, they have a right to choose. They have a right to express themselves as they see fit. Our Constitution is very black and white. It did never need to be amended or added to, negated, taken away, stripped away, or modernized. It's common sense. We all are supposed to be equal. We're all supposed to have the same rights, same freedoms of expressions. But no, that goes against the status quo. Because if we just let all that happen, we have nothing to divide you with. We have nothing to pit you against each other. And most people, if it's another group that they don't agree with, or they've been taught that they're wrong, they're evil, you will not stand up for them, even when their very constitutional rights are being taken away. So now we're going to have a bunch of frontline responders, first responders, being pushed out because they can't control them. We're going to have a foreign entity, and yes, it is a foreign entity, even being within the United States. If another department intercedes in a state from another state or a federal institution, it is a foreign entity coming into that state, into that county. It is no longer your local fire department, police, first responders. It's some foreign entity that was not invited by you. That does not have your interest in hand, because they're there to do one thing. They're there to make sure the status quo is upheld. They will follow their orders and give one flying F about you. And your choices, your freedoms, your rights. Not much, just me rambling. They're the same ones that says it's okay to tie a mask to this Down syndrome child so tight that when they took the mask off, there was spittle slobber to where she was struggling to breathe. And come to find out, it wasn't just this day that happened. They've been doing it for weeks. They didn't notify the parents, but it's okay. They're doing what they're told to protect people. And some of you are going to say, oh, that's just bullshit. That didn't happen. Well, it did happen. Their local news even covered it. Mainstream media ain't covering it, of course. We still have some local news agencies out there that do report what's going on. But more and more, you see it, even they are changing their tune. When I was in Ohio, I caught our local news a few times playing the fact checker game. And, well, they kind of stopped for a while after a bunch of us decided to, okay, you want to play fact checker? Let's play. And we started posting the facts, the law. They don't like that. I see they're back at it again. It's one of those once you think they stop and you walk away for a while and they think you're not paying attention, they go right back at it. Just like so many people believe that this mandate's in effect. No, until Dementia Patient 101 puts pen to paper, there is no law. Which, hence the 101 part, should be common sense. But it's not, because they have a controlled media. No, that was kind of something I liked what Trump did. He tried to open up the media. Yes, and it was funny to watch those press conferences because, he called it like it was. He actually was the first person to put them out there for what they really were. But I still didn't see the independent people, the everyday people, some of these YouTubers that do great content. I didn't see them there. I would have loved to see that. So he did great on that department, but he failed. Because he made it sound like he was going to open it up to people. And, no. It would have been great if he did. Now, the problem is, our media, truthfully, has become a monopoly. It's an elite group of corporations and businesses labeled as entertainment. Now, I seen a meme floating around, that they, talking about the expose back in the day. The, what would we call those tabloid magazines? There was more truth in the tabloid magazines than we're getting now. But where'd they learn the deceptions, that lies sell? Through the tabloids. Back in the 80s, 90s, everybody had a tabloid. They kept up on it. Why? I don't know. Mystery of the time, I guess. Propaganda at its finest. And now it's being used through our media outlets. Psychological warfare on an everyday basis. 24 hours a day. 365 days a year. Non-stop. Like being the landlord was talking the other day. He's like, he told me his story, how he found this place. He's kind of like me in this aspect. I don't like cities. I don't like towns. I grew up in the country, love the country. I love that solitude, that peace. I don't have to worry about my nearest neighbor. Yes, now I kind of do, but not right now. Got a few more months before I might have to worry about, I got to keep the noise down. Got a neighbor now. But yet I'm not in town quite exactly. I'm like 3 minutes outside of town, which is cool. I love it. Because it's a 3-minute drive into town, 5 minutes tops to get to whatever store I want to go to. I'm not in town. So I still have some of that enjoyable freedom. And he was, he pretty much said the same thing. He's like, yeah, I've lived in big cities. He I just happened to be driving by this place, and I seen all these signs out. And he's like, he said he looked at the wife. He's like, man, that's the spot. It's not in town. It's outside. I can make some change difference. And he's making some changes. This is a cool spot. Believe it or not, I love it. Oh, I'd love it even more if somebody didn't get her deployment extended 3 more weeks. But hey, I've been as a bachelor so long, just don't bother me. I'm kind of used to it. Not really. The drawbacks of dealing with somebody, and you get used to them, and like I said, it's those deceptions, those things that each divide us with. Our first responders, what are we going to do? The big question is, who's that foreign entity that they're going to replace them with? Is it going to be the National Guard? Is it going to be some private contractors? Because, technically, they kind of screwed up the youth. So, they're not really wanting to work those jobs. So, there's a plus. They got them brainwashed good. Like I said, it's not easy to do when you send them to an indoctrination center for half their life. But I've also seen the opposite side effect of that. I've seen a lot of young ones that were going to college that were really awake. We're seeing things for the first time that's like, hey, this ain't right. Had good conversations when I was living in Boone with a lot of the college students that were going to App State. Not that I should be using that as a good statistic, because a lot of kids that go to App State are from wealthy families. Not all, but most. You have, up in those mountains, you have retired hockey players. There for a while, Joe Gibbs, his sons were going there, and daughters. Mario Lemieux's sons are going, and daughters and kids are going to the school systems there. They got some good school systems there, though. But, that goes back to that I was saying. Those who have money can afford those good things. Those that don't get what they get. The biggest argument is race. Always has been. Always will be. Because we allow it to be. We allowed people to say that the supremacy. You're white, so therefore you're a supremacist. Well, one, no, I am not a supremacist. One could never be a mix, so we'll nip that in the bud real quick. I'm a mixed race. I'm American Brazilian. So therefore, nope, can never be a supremacist. The fact is, they're labeled Nazis? No. They're not that either. That's a lie. That's a fabricated deception. But if we want to go in our history books, I can tell you where those Nazis were and are. I can tell you what alphabet agencies they helped create, because that's what the we called the Great Race towards the end of the World War II. There was a great race going on. Every country that we are allied was involved in a great race to get into central Germany, the heart of Germany, to get these scientists, these leaders, some of which were some of the most evilest, vilest war criminals on this planet. Because they seeing their advancements in technology and science and pseudosciences and propaganda, psychological warfare. The most vilest man ever to walk this earth, in my opinion, was Adolf Hitler. The atrocities that he committed to mankind is unforgivable. And those that followed him, that practiced the same thing, but many of which we sought out to train our CIA, our FBI, our military, top scientists that help further our space program with NASA. There's where your real Nazis went. There's where your real supremacists went. Into our federal government to help create other branches of our government. Historically, factual, and well documented. But because this American is white, we're going to call him a supremacist. We're going to call him a Nazi. The percentage of people that still hold those beliefs is so minute, we should never be even bringing it up. It only becomes a thing when the boogeyman is given power. And usually the boogeyman is created for some political agenda. To strike fear. To cause rifts and divides. And the fact is, when it comes to racism, there's racists in every skin color. The fact is, the further you research and study your history, the more you realize that you've been being deceived for a very long time. Yes, we had slave markets. Yes, we had slaves. We also had indentured servitudes, which was another form of slavery. Just changed the label a bit. Yeah, I try to not meddle in foreign third world countries' politics, but yes, the leadership of Ecuador could be said the same. Argentina was another country where most of the Nazis migrated to. They're villages, small towns that you can see the architecture and landscapes equivalent to that in certain parts of Germany. Sometimes when the pot calls the kettle black, well, they got skeletons in their closet too. Our government has done as it may for a very long time without fear of repercussion. Because they've tried to breed that fear out of everyone. Saying you have no control, or give you the illusion that you do. Have you vote every year on the premises of this politician that, I'm going to do this for you. And they don't. Then the following year, they spew the same lies, and guess what? You don't. Now they got everybody believing. I warned everybody. Make America great again. Great. Love it. Then you had to go create a sigil and abbreviate it. I warned you that there's power in that. I've warned you that there's also a very dangerous game to be played there. Because what did it do? It actually helped further divide us. Yes, it united the front and reached a lot of people. But there was consequences to that. Now we're paying those consequences. Because other people know the game and know how to misuse it and use it to their advantage. So now we got people that are only going to vote one way or the other, red or blue. And you see it every day. You hear people talk about it every day. I will never vote. Well, let me tell you something. That's not how it's supposed to be. And I've studied this before, and I'll keep saying it until the day I die. The person you should be voting for isn't a color, isn't a party. It is the person that is going to sit there, swear that oath, and uphold that oath. It's going to protect your constitutional rights, your freedoms, your liberties, defend them. That is their job. That is what they're being elected to do. And it doesn't matter what party they're from. And actions speak louder than words. Do your research. Has this person to this date done these things? Everybody's got a digital trail. Everybody's politicians, their records are so public knowledge is not even funny. You'll know. But no, we'll keep voting these rhinos in until they die. They keep getting rich, while the poor keep getting poorer. It's funny that they can go in there, non-millionaires, by the time they're ready to leave, they're multi-millionaires. How is that possible? How are they making so much money? In a position of trust, in an office of trust. It makes no sense. Because truthfully, they don't get paid that much. Where's the money coming from? How are they getting so filthy rich? Tell me. I want to know. But we don't talk about that. No one does. Because there's so much other stuff to talk about. The distractions, the deceptions, the lies, the divide. Keep us divided, we don't see things that's right in front of us. We're too busy arguing and fighting about who's right or wrong or what politics is best. And what politics are best? Our Constitution. Honor our freedoms and our rights. But hey, we live in some great times though. Because people are now starting to talk. People are now starting putting their differences aside. Finding common ground. And I applaud that because that's what they fear. Keep doing it. Grow those congregations bigger. Keep taking a stand, but stop letting them divide us. These cops that are out there taking a stand, join them. Stand up with them. Don't judge them because of some bad apples. We lose them, we're screwed. We lose our firefighters, we're screwed. We lose our nurses and doctors, we're fucked. Yep. There's sides to every coin. Yes, there's people out there does not believe in medicine, does not believe in these doctors. They have that right. To you, there's people out there that do. Because what we're facing now, and it goes back to what I've always said. Once you get away with one thing, once that one domino falls, the rest go with it. If they can take this away from this person, that they know nobody's going to care because everybody dislikes them, guess what? You're next. You're the next domino in line. And right on down the line until all the dominoes are falling. Then you have no liberties, no freedoms, no rights. To where those that speak, that think they have their freedoms or choose to stand up, still choose to be free thinkers and speak their minds, are rounded up. And that is coming. We just got a lot more dominoes to go before it gets there. But that's coming. I mean, we already have it happening with censorship. On every platform. Everywhere you go. I mean, on Twitter, they've got systems in place now. You can't retweet something. Or, did you read the article? I love that one. Yes, I read the article, so I wouldn't be retweeting it. Well, there's some people out there who won't read the article. They said, oh, okay, we're retweet. Okay, I give you that. If I retweet something, I read it. If I share something, I've read it. But that doesn't mean I agree with it. Sometimes I'll reshare something just so people will think and question things. Sometimes I think it might make for a great debate, so why not share it? Because it'll make people think and question things. Not everything I share, not every person's podcast or video I share, do I agree. Or sometimes, in some cases, I don't even like them. But if they say something that I know has meaning, has truth, that people need to hear, I'm sharing it. Oh, wait. Most people don't do that because we're too busy arguing amongst ourselves about who's right. Oh, I don't like him because he's into this. He does this. He says this. He uses the F word too frequently. I stated from the get-go. I have actually even had it written in my own descriptions there for the longest. I'm not advertiser friendly. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And at some point, I'm going to piss everyone off. It's simple. Because at some point, I'm going to hit a topic that you don't like, that you don't want to hear, that you've been taught completely otherwise, and I'm going to hit a nerve. Good. I did my job. I don't care about the likes. I don't care about dislikes. Don't care. In fact, I don't care. Don't want you to share my videos at all. To be honest with you. It's not safe for you. You share my videos at your own risk. Maybe you could ask Free Spirit Prepping in News. I got her Facebook page nuked because one of my videos. Now, you have the mindset like me and just don't care. Well, do as you please. Do what thy will. That should be your mentality anyway. My personal opinion. You should be doing as you please. What you feel drawn to do. Not what you're told to do. You tell me to. Because basically, if I tell you, no, I'm not going to say it because somebody might do it. But you know that old adage, the blind follow the blind. Some of you, if you're told to jump off that bridge, you will. And I want you to think about that because that's what we've been talking about tonight. Because that's what they're trying to put in place. That's who they're trying to replace these cops with. These servicemen, these men that serve this country in our military. That's who they're trying to replace them with. People that will not think about your rights, your freedoms, their oaths that they've taken. They will do as they're told, even when they're told to walk off that bridge or that cliff. They will walk straight off it. Without thought, without question. Yes, sir. As you say. But yet here we are. Now, I see all these great people standing up, taking a stand. I see so little standing up with them and supporting them. We're supposed to be brothers and sisters. But yet, we act like true brothers and sisters. We fight so much, we don't get along. And most of us walk away and don't speak to them again. It's not supposed to be that way. We're supposed to come to our brothers and sisters' aid when it is needed. I get it. It's trying times. It's hard times. I mean, price of gas here, $3.35. I mean, damn. Considering I'm gassing up almost twice a day. I mean, I don't have to. I can go. It's basically a quarter of a tank there and a quarter tank back. So I could do 3 trips before I have to gas up. But I've also learned that, I gas up before that first quarter mark. Instead of paying $30, $20, I can keep it in the, like $15, $18 range, which isn't as much as it would be if I gassed up when it's at a half a tank, which is about $70. Yeah, I'm saving about $4 or $5. Well, $4 or $5, that's something to eat. Well, now not much anymore. I mean, prices went up in the grocery stores again this week. Yes, they are thinning the herd. I mean, my mouth about dropped when I spent at the grocery store this week. And I'm feeding one person. And the groceries I got will barely make it a week. And the reason they'll make it a week is by come Tuesday night, I'm not going to feel like cooking dinner. Hence why I cooked last night. That's meals for today. So I don't have to cook today. Tomorrow I'll cook. That'll be meals for Tuesday and tomorrow. Because Tuesday I'm not going to feel like cooking. So it's a frozen pizza on Wednesday or a sandwich or some ramen noodle soups. And yeah, I was like, damn, almost $500 spent doing grocery shopping. The only thing that wasn't grocery related was dryer vent kit, detergent, which that's expensive as is. Fabric softener detergent and fabric softener sheet. So yeah, that's expensive. One roll of toilet paper, because believe it or not, I'm starting to see people excessively shopping again. Took a while. Now I'm starting to see it. Like I said, depends on your demographic. demographics, where you live. It takes longer for some people to see those effects that you're seeing where you're at. But yeah, I'm starting to see it. Meat products short. Prices doubled. I usually, like I said, I haven't had time, or come Friday, I'm too tired to go. Plus, I don't have my ice packs be done melted by the time I get there. So what I'm doing tomorrow is taking my ice packs to my parents' house along with the big cooler. And Friday, I'll stock up on meat again. But even there, the prices went up. But it's still cheaper buying at the slaughterhouse or the processing plant than it is going to fucking Walmart. I'm still saving a couple $100 by doing it that way. And I'll be good for the rest of the month, so, on meat. But even vegetables went up. Everything's gone up. It's ridiculous. The price of gas is ridiculous. And there's nobody to blame but our government and our state governments. They've caused this. They've caused all these ships to be backed up out there, including the oil ships. There's a ton of oil tankers out there, along with all these supply cargo ships. This was caused. This wasn't, they're saying, oh, it's just because of the pandemic. No, it's because you instilled fear, because you got people out there, these owners of these harbors, saying, no, if you're not vaccinated, you can't come to work. Let's cut the BS. And I could go back to my previous statement. Dementia Patient 101 has not put pen to paper. There is no executive order. So what you are doing is an illegal act. There is no law in place stating anybody has to be mandated to be vaccinated. Get your workers back and doing their jobs. Or maybe it's time for the workers to hold these corporations accountable in the court of law. Hurt them where it hurts the worst. Their pockets. That's what really needs to happen. Wait, this is California we're talking about, so good luck winning a case out there. Because most of those judges have been bought off and only play politics. That's been well documented. And those judges all should be removed. It's one big broken system. And there is no fix. There's no Band-Aid we can slap on it. It all needs to be torn down and rebuilt. Not with rich, elite people. With everyday, common folk. Those at work suffer, know what it means. Those that interpret the law and the Constitution for what it is, black and white. Those are the people that should be in these places serving and protecting our rights. Not these people that have cocaine habits like the judge that sentenced me some 20 years ago. Or the ones that want to play politics because of their political bias. They can't go against the status quo because, I won't get reelected. I won't become DA. I won't be a judge if I go against the status quo of my party. So therefore, my rulings will be based on my politics, not the letter of the law, not the Constitution. then your system has no meaning. And it is not a legal binding system. Because you have violated your very oath of office. Therefore, it is a mock court that has no grounds or legal right. A kangaroo court has more jurisdiction and rights than some of our court systems out there today. In the end, it is fear that causes the greatest divide. When you can stir enough fear that people fear each other, the seeds of division is easily sowed. But there's more chicken at my Walmart than there is beef and pork. I actually stocked up on chicken. Why? Because it's about all that was left. Thankfully, for some of us out there, hunting season's just starting up. I suggest to you hunters out there, stock up. Get your limits this year. Head to your local processor and process it all. I know that's getting more expensive to do now, too. Not really. Remember, there was because of the pandemic, in the lockdown, there was a spam shortage of all things. Hell, I'd say stock up on Twinkies, but you can't find them anymore either. That's a scary product. It's sad. A Twinkie has a survival rate of a cockroach. But I've enjoyed the conversation I've been having with people lately. There's a lot more conversation going on, a lot more people getting it, seeing it, speaking out about what they normally wouldn't. So there's good things happening in this time of crisis. Now's the perfect time to build our congregations. Now is the perfect time to take stances as one. Like I said, carpe diem, seize the day. When you see that moment, seize it. Don't wait. Let's not leave our police and first responders hanging out there to dry. Screw whatever the media said in the past. We should be taking a stand with them. I mean, even if it is something simple as dropping some food donations off to the precinct, to your local fire department's house. If you got food to spare, any little bit will help, because they're risking their jobs. They're taking the ultimate stand, and that I respect. Yeah, I'll be around, Bree. Just not so much during the weekday, because by the time I get up, it's time to go back to work. Like I said, I average about 4 to 6 hours of sleep Monday through Thursday. And Friday, what little running I got to do, I try to get it done on Friday. and I pass out. I'm out till 5, 6 in the morning, Saturday morning. I mean, this weekend I pretty much slept the weekend away, honestly. I was just that wore out from lack of sleep. Yeah, I'm not far from it. Tomorrow's back to work. Like I said, in the end, guys, I am going to wrap this up. I've been doing pretty good keeping the podcast under about an hour and a half long. In the end, they can only divide us if we let them. And a lot of it, like I said, you want to stop some of this division. Turn off the mainstream media. You know, most of us got iPhones or smartphones or Samsungs, Androids. If I want to check the weather, I check it on my app. I don't even need to turn the local news on. In fact, I don't. Much anymore. I much rather listen to music. But that's a pay to play scenario too. You get all these commercials, and well, you know what the commercials are. You can't completely get away from it, but you can get away from most of it. But the bottom line, the moral, this whole story of the night is it's time to start standing up for each other. Whether we agree with each other, like each other, or not, we all have common ground. But no, we don't. Because we're divided even on that. But a lot of people are getting tired of getting lied to. I mean, a lot of people are on their third round of shots, and they were promised that they only needed one. Then they were promised they only need two. Wait, maybe a booster. People get tired of broken promises because all broken promises is a lie or a half truth. Hence why we have Spake Coliseum saying, fuck Joe Biden. You can only lie to people for so long before they get tired of it. We never get the truth out of our government anyway. Why? Because sometimes that truth's so damning, as we had many politicians come out and say after reading that. Nothing wrong with a peaceful non-compliance in my own way. And a lot of people, and that's the worst part of this time of the year. This time of year when most people are going through the most stress. The holidays are coming up. It's when the budgets are the tightest. And everyone knows it, and that's when they like to do their little crap even more, because the more they can strangle you into submission, they will. That's why it's so important to take a stance. That's why it's so important Whether you agree with the person, dislike the person, if you know that person's in the right when it comes to their rights and liberties being taken away, you stand up for them. Otherwise, like I said, you're just that domino further down the line. You're next. Then who's going to stand up for you? Because I'm still a firm believer of action follow. Now, your actions speak louder than words. If I seen that you wouldn't take a stand for this person, why should I take a stand for you? And that's hypocritical. That goes against my nature, actually. It does. It really does. And I've caught myself being that dumbass that takes a stand with that person that wouldn't take a stand for somebody else. Many times. Because I know it's the right thing to do. That's actually something that is righteous. Not going to hear me say that much. Because I don't believe that word has any meaning but bad things. But in the end, it's a personal opinion. In the end, I sleep soundly. So therefore, it has to be right. Hope you guys enjoyed. You guys be safe until we speak again. I will try to do a podcast while I commute to work. Like I said, there's something I do want to show you guys. And I actually want to show, not let you guys see. And then give you my personal experience with the area. So like I said, it used to be all farmland and woods. I mean, to the point where I haven't been out that way in years. It was the last time I came back from North Carolina. No, it wasn't the last. Yeah. No, it wasn't the last time. It was the year before that I came back. So I take care of something in Ohio. That we came through that way and I didn't recognize the place. It was unrecognizable. That's how much change happened. And that's something that, now you see people divided. But now I can show you proof that when they say green is the way, they're lying. Because the damage that they caused by trying to go greener, we are feeling the effects today at our local stores. Why? Because these farmlands no longer exist. Many of these farmlands in these areas got bought out on private auctions. What goes up in their place? Think about it. Because I'm going to show you. There is a price to be paid for everything. We lose our farmlands and farmers. The more we lose, guess what? We feel it at the grocery stores. But we need to go greener. You want to go greener? Plant a garden. Plant some trees. At least that's what used to be the saying back in the 90s and 80s. In fact, you went to school and they gave you an evergreen every year to plant. Oh no, now let's rip them down so we can put these monstrosities up. You guys have a good evening. I'll see you on the next one.